250 years ago to the day, in 1776, the signing of the Declaration of Independence happened between the United States and the British Empire. 250 years have passed, and I thought, what a brilliant way to commemorate that special occasion to all of my American viewers by painting myself an American War of Independence US Infantryman, or Continental Infantryman, I think is the correct term. So, my name's Christian, welcome to Painting Panzers, and today we're going to be taking a look at how I paint this brilliant American figure from Italeri in 1/72 scale. I'm going to be painting this one up again for the American War of Independence, and it was a very fun video to make, so strap yourselves in, grab your American flags, and let's get stuck into this video. Now, the models in question are the American Infantry set from Italeri. 60 is the number, and there's quite a few different models in there. There's actually a few more than Italeri normally put out, so it's a really nice set. It's not 100% historically accurate, but I'll let you read this review as it's a lot more detailed. So to start off with, to paint his tunic or his coat, I'm going to be using dark Prussian blue. So it's a dark blue. Dark Prussian blue is pretty much my go-to for all of this sort of musket period blue. I think it works really nicely, and you can make it a little bit bluer in terms of it being a little bit lighter. So it's a really good base color to give you that dark blue, and then you can come along and make it a little bit lighter, which we'll do towards the end of the video. But for now, it's all about putting the base color down to get some colors on there and then give it a wash. So it's the old base, wash, and then layer method is what I'm going with, which is what I normally go with. Now I'm using a red, so I'm using deep red from AK Interactive. You don't have to go with deep red, but again, deep red is my go-to for this sort of period. For the red, so like the British red coats and stuff, I think deep red from AK Interactive works absolutely great, but you can use a different type of red from Vallejo, I'm sure. And this is where you're just adding some nice details on that tunic. Now for the bag that's slung across his shoulder, I'm going to be using Basil Grey. I'm using reference photos from Google. It's pretty much what I always do. I have a few books for World War II that I use, but for all these other periods, I definitely use Google Images. So let me know in the comment section if I'm getting this all wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty close. Now for his waistcoat, I'm using Stone Grey. Now for painting his uniform, minus the equipment, I'm actually using Top Pot's image. They create reenactment gear, and it looks absolutely superb. So I'm using their collection as reference photo. So I'll leave a link to their website in the description of the video, because it's well worth checking out, because they've got some amazing stuff, especially from the US perspective. I'm also painting his waistcoat, his gaiters, and as well as a bit of the coat on the back in that same color. And then for the white areas, I'm going to be using Deck Tan. So you can see his trousers are going to get a go in Deck Tan, and then as well as a lot of the other equipment. Sorry, I'm on my words there. A lot of the other equipment is going to get some Deck Tan as well. Like this strap, for example, this is going to get a nice coat of that Deck Tan. And then we're going to move on to painting his water bottle or his canteen, and I'm going to be using German Camo medium brown for that one. Again, it's like a brown leathery sort of color. Obviously they didn't have too many metal sort of items at this stage, so using this nice brown will work really nicely for this, I believe. Then for the wooden areas, I'm going to be using Flat Earth. So obviously he's got his musket, so I'm going to be using Flat Earth to paint that. Don't stress if you paint over some of the metal areas. It's pretty hard to get these muskets painted without going over some of the metal areas, because there is a lot on there. So just give your musket a good go of this wooden colour, and then once it's dry, you can go ahead and paint those metal areas in black grey. So you can see there's the muzzle that's going to need to be painted, this sort of trigger mechanism, and the stock, and then the barrel. There's quite a bit that needs to be painted, and then there's obviously the clips that hold the wooden areas together. So just try and capture all those details. Remember, all the little details that you can capture really draw the eye, and it can make bigger mistakes look less, well, make them stand out less, because you've got some of those nice intricate small details. Then for his boots, I'm going to be using black, so it's obviously a good colour. And then his tricorn is going to be in black as well. You can obviously use a really dark grey, but I'm going to go with black, as well as his little rifle ammo pouch on the back here in black as well. And then for his hair, I'm going to give him a nice blonde bit of hair. So I'm going to go and base it in old wood. You can see it's a really good sort of dark blonde color, but we'll lighten it up with a lighter color. Then you have something that looks like this. Now you might look at it and scream at yourself going, I'm going to bin that and try again, but no, keep it. It looks awful now, but you're going to wash it now. So you can see already that waistcoat just comes to life with a wash. So give it that null oil and lafmium medium at a 1:1 ratio wash, and then we can go ahead, go all over it again. But this time really focusing on the details and leaving that original wash base color in the recesses. And this mixture that I use is really good for that. Now, whilst we wait for that wash to dry, I'd like to quickly just talk about today's sponsor, Noble Knight Games. If you're into historical wargaming like I am, Noble Knight Games is a fantastic place to find miniatures, rulebooks, paints, terrain, and even those hard to find out of print kits that can be almost impossible to track down elsewhere. Whether you're building your next World War II army or starting a brand new project, they've got a huge range of products to help you get your miniatures on the tabletop. You'll find a link to their website in the description below. Thanks again to Noble Knight Games for supporting the channel, and now let's get back into painting this figure. So to start off with, that waistcoat and the gaiters and the bit on the back of his tunic, I'm going to be using stone grey again. So we're going over in the same colour. I normally don't do this with this scale. This is something I would do on a 28mm model. So I would go over all of the same colours again and then lightly bring the colours down. But for this, for the whiter colours, I like to go over them again. So you can see I'm painting the gaiters again in stone grey, but I'm leaving the grooves in that nice dark original base colour. And then the back here as well is going to get some of that. Now it's really, at this stage you could probably leave that if you wanted to, but if you want to really lighten it and make it stand out a little bit more, add some white grey to the mixture. Just do it at about a 2:1 ratio, because you don't want it to become white, because we've got white items. We want this to look like a creamy colour. So I'm going to use white grey, and again I'm using that Top Punts reference image and I'm copying what they've got, and it is like a different shade of that sort of creamy colour. And you can see this is where I'm just picking out all those nice details, and then obviously the flat areas are getting a little bit more attention as well. Then for the tunic, I'm going to be using dark Prussian blue and medium blue at a 1:1 ratio. So I said at the start of this painting tutorial that you can use that dark Prussian blue as your dark base color, and then you can add the medium blue to really line it up. And you can see you get a really lovely blue, and it looks really, really good actually. I think it's a really nice little mixture between the two, gives you a beautiful blue tunic. And yeah, following the same sort of techniques, as in picking out the details but leaving the original color in the recesses. And then going over in deep red, so I'm not going to add any white or anything to the mixture. I don't think it really needs it. You can add a touch of white if you really need to, but yeah, I'm not going to do that at this stage. Just going to keep it with that deep red and really make this figure start to look the part. And you can already tell that it's really starting to come together. That blue has really brought the tunic to life, and the red is just going to complement it really nicely. So like we did with that stone grey, I'm going to go over the white areas with deck tan again. Now you can see that this particular strap is obviously quite big, so just pay a lot of attention to that strap. You don't need to do the outer edges, but paint the rest of it. Now I'm going to be using white grey, and this is where I just start scratching it on and trying to sort of simulate a crease in the middle. So you can see I'm going on the outer edge there, and then I'll go on the outer edge on the other side, but leave a nice little fine line in the middle. And then the eye is drawn to that and thinks that there's a crease there. And then you can see with the trousers, they've already got all the creases in there. So I'm not painting the creases, I'm painting those nice raised areas of the creases, and you can see that those trousers really start to pop. Now with the bag, I'm going to be using basalt grey. Again, you could add a little bit of a lighter grey colour to the mixture if you wanted to, but for this particular bag and the fact it's not really the centrepiece of the model, it's slung behind him, you're not really going to make it out, I'm just going to use basalt grey again. You can already tell that with it's been washed, that it's quite dark already. So yeah, when you reapply, it actually looks pretty good. Then for that Kentine, I'm going to use German Camo Medium Brown and German Camo Beige World War II at a 1:1 ratio. So I normally use old wood to give you a nice worn leather look. Orange brown, not old wood. But this particular case, I'm going to use beige because it is a lighter brown for what I can see. Now for the wooden areas, I'm going to be using flat earth and orange brown at a 1:1 ratio, and I'm going to just scratch in details. And what I mean by that is I'm going to go in on an angle and try and simulate sort of wood grains. Now this first particular step isn't really too important. You're just pretty much repainting all the wood but leaving the original washed base color and the recesses. But then I'm coming along with the orange brown and I'm scratching the wood in, and you can see that I've got very little paint on the tip of the brush. It's a size 1 brush, guys, and I'm just slowly scratching it in. I don't want too much orange brown. I don't want it to become an orange rifle or musket. I'm just adding in a little bit at a time and just scratching it in, and you can see those wood grains, and they look great at a 1/72 scale. Now for the metal areas, I'm going to be using black grey and basalt grey at a 2:1 ratio, and this is really important because the next stage is a 1:1 ratio. And you might be thinking this is really frustrating, all these mixtures, but it is worth doing. I mean, if you can find alternatives where you don't have to do the mixture, that's great. But I like subtle highlights. I'm not a big fan of the highlights that really stick out. I like subtle ones. I think they look a little bit more realistic. So this is what I'm going with. And then, as I said, I'm using the same mixture, but this time at a 1:1 ratio. And we're just going to pick out those nice details. You can see that this particular metal part of the musket isn't well detailed, so you don't really have to do too much on there. But this mixture is light enough that you can make some of those really important areas stand out, like the muzzle, for example, or the bayonet, or these little clips on the actual rifle that's keeping the wood bits together. Now for his face, I'm going to be using light flesh from AK Interactive. If you know my videos, you know this is my go-to for all of my flesh tones, for Caucasian flesh tones I should say. I really do love this light flesh set from AK Interactive, but again, Vallejo do a pretty similar sort of paint colour. Once that's dry, I'm going to use Flesh Wash from Vallejo, and I'm just going to use a battered old brush, but it's important that it's got a bit of a point left on it, and I'm just going to apply this on nicely, but not too much of it. Whilst that's drying, I'm going to be using black and black grey at a 1:1 ratio, just to give that tricorn a little bit of detail, but just subtly. So you can see there's lots of creases in that hat where the different folds are, and there's a little emblem on there as well, so just give that a little bit of detail, but it's nothing too crazy. And don't forget that rifle patch as well. Don't bother with the boots because they're going to get a dry brush of your earth colour anyway. With those done, I'm then going to use a light flesh from AK Interactive again, and just going to paint the brow, the cheeks, the nose, the chin, but leaving the darker washed colour in the eye sockets, around the nose, in the inner mouth, and around the lips, and then in between the fingers. And you can see I'm scratching it all in, taking my time, not trying to make too much of a mistake because this is the last bit. Then I'm going to use light flesh and highlight flesh at a 1:1 ratio, and I'm just going to really pick out these details now. So you can see I'm picking out the chin, the eyebrow, the nose, the cheeks, a bit of the jawline, the ear, but I'm not connecting them all. That's really important. You're just adding some details on those facial features. Same with the hands. I'm just adding a few little lines on the fingers and a little line where the knuckle area would be. And then for the hairline, I'm just going to use Iraqi sand to give it that nice bright blonde colour, and you can see it goes really nicely with that darkened old wood. And finally, there's lots of little buttons on this guy, so just paint those in basalt grey. Just add in some nice little blobs on those buttons, and they will look like grey buttons. And then you should have something like this, so a lot different from what we looked at before when he was just base coloured before the wash. So yeah, it's come out great. So there we have it, guys. Happy Independence Day to all of my American cousins. I really wish you guys have a fantastic day. Some amazing history that is shared between both nations, that's for sure, and I really did enjoy painting this one. There's plenty more of these American War of Independence figures to come. I've got some British cavalry lined up, so let me know in the comment section what you want to see. Is there anything in particular in this period of history that you want to see, or are you just excited for anything really? Really would be keen to know. Now, a massive thank you must go out to my Patreons and YouTube channel members, specifically those higher tier members. So that's Patrick, Oscar, James, Panzer Jim, Lack of Foresight Gaming, Mike, Mikey, Eric, Rothgar, Ian, Adam, Rob and Alan. You guys are all champions. Thank you so much for being those higher tier members. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it here. Don't forget to drop me a comment below. And until then, I will catch you at the next one.